You were in the kitchen, carefully flipping the slice of toast and stirring the eggs on low heat. When distant voices drifted through the hallway, frowning in surprise, you quickly turned the stove knob down and wiped your hands on your apron. Curiosity tugged at your feet as you stepped out of the kitchen, and the moment your eyes landed on them, a soft smile played on your lips. It was his parents along with his younger brother, but the smile faded slightly when you catch the way his brother's eyes lingered on you for a moment too long. His gaze wasn't warm like Mr. Jones or affectionate like Mrs. Jones. It made you shift your weight uncomfortably. Still, you composed yourself and offered a warm greeting, your voice gentle as always. Hello, mom, dad, it's so nice to meet you. Mrs. Jones beamed and returned your greeting immediately, followed by a brief note from Mr. Jones. However, their younger son, Taehwan, didn't say a word. He barely glanced at you before brushing past silently and walking straight into the house. And of course, Jungkook was there too, standing by the entrance, dressed in black and looking as unreadable as ever. His expression didn't change even as his family entered unannounced. You were all here this early in the morning. Mrs. Jones rolled her eyes dramatically and smacked her purse slightly against her son's arm. Why can't we come see our sweet wine once in a while? I hear you were not feeling well, sweetheart, so I rushed over to check on you. And look at you wearing an apron. Were you in the kitchen? She turned toward Jungkook and narrowed her eyes. You don't take care of her at all, do you? She is sick and still cooking for you. Before you could protest, she gently reached out and began undoing the apron strings behind your neck. Here, give it to me. I'll make breakfast today. No, no, mom, you finally came after such a long time. I can't let you. You were interrupted by a small coughing fit, your hand instinctively covering your mouth. Mrs. Jones' expression turned serious. Look at that. You are clearly not well. Enough now. Go rest. I said I will handle it. Her tone left no room for argument, and you smiled softly in defeat, bowing your head slightly before retreating toward the bedroom to change out of your kitchen clothes. Meanwhile, Mr. Jones casually walked over to Jungkook and nudged him with a teasing smile. You have got a good one, son. She's so polite even when she's sick. I know. His response was flat, almost detached, but Mr. Jones chuckled as if used to his son's cold demeanor. But Jungkook's eyes were not on his father anymore. They were narrowed, locked onto Taehwan, who had been unusually quiet since entering. Jungkook's gaze followed him as he disappeared into the bedroom. Something about the way Taehwan's eyes trailed after you made Jungkook's jaw tighten slightly. Taewon, how are your studies going? The younger boy blinked and turned, the sudden question making him straighten his posture. Oh, they're going great, Hyung. I passed all my finals. He flashed an innocent grin, his tone light and cheerful, but Jungkook didn't smile back. He only nodded slowly, something unreadable flickering in his eyes. A few minutes later, Taewon stood up from the couch and stretched lazily. I need to use the bathroom. He didn't wait for anyone's reply before walking off, but instead of turning toward the guest bathroom, he quietly slipped into your bedroom, the same room you had gone into moments ago. And Jungkook noticed. The warm water cascaded over your back as you leaned against the cool tile wall, trying to soothe the ache in your lower stomach. It had been 2 exhausting days. Your body sluggish with fever, relentless coughing fits, and now the unmistakable cramps warning you that your period was near. You hadn't had the strength to do much, but today you forced yourself to shower, hoping the heat might ease your pain. Wrapping yourself in a soft ivory robe, you wiped the steam off the mirror and tucked a few damp strands of hair behind your ear. You were exhausted, your head spinning slightly from the heat and weakness. You stepped out of the bathroom, still drying your hair with a towel, only to freeze mid step. A small gasp escaped your lips. What are you doing here? There, standing too close for comfort, was Taehwan. His eyes scanned you shamelessly, and a smear curled on his lips. Relax, Luna. I just got lost looking for the bathroom, but I gotta say, this view is definitely worth it. Your body stiffened as he stepped closer. You pressed the towel tighter against your chest and backed away. They don't joke like that. Please leave right now. But instead of listening, his hand started to lift, aiming to touch your hair, maybe more. Your heart pounded in panic. Before he could go any further, the door swung open. Jungkook stood there, cold, silent. His sharp eyes immediately catch how close Taewon was to you. His jaw clenched. Instinctively, you pushed Taewon away from your heart. Jungkook, it's not what you are thinking. Taewon flustered but still pretending to be calm. Hyung, sorry, I thought this was the washroom. He didn't wait for a reply and disappeared down the hallway. Jungkook's eyes remained on you for a second longer, then he walked in slowly without a word. His face was unreadable, but the tension in his shoulders was unmistakable. He picked up his wristwatch from the dresser and began strapping it on, completely ignoring the way your voice trembled. Jungkook, no response. He adjusted the strap with perfect precision, then turned slightly as if to leave. You grabbed his arm, your fingers trembling. Please don't think wrongly of me. You know, he came in suddenly. I was changing. He tried to touch me. I didn't. In one swift motion, he yanked his arm out of your grasp. The sting of his rejection hit harder than anything Dewan had done. Don't cry like you are the victim, mine. His voice was cold, low, but there was no anger, just disappointment. If I hadn't walked in, would you have even told me? Your lips parted, but no sound came out. Your hands trembled at your sides, tears spilling down your cheeks. He glanced at your face, then really looked at you, the panic in your eyes. The way your robe was still tightly gripped at your chest, your flushed skin, not from shame but from fever and fear. He knew you. You never talked to guys. You never even made eye contact with anyone unless necessary. You were soft, shy, and impossibly loyal. He exhaled slowly. I know you wouldn't let anyone near you. You looked up, hopeful, waiting for him to say something more to stay, but he only shook his head. Still, I need space. Without another glance, he walked out, leaving you standing there, weak, cold, and shattered. The dining table was filled with warmth and the comforting aroma of a traditional homemade breakfast. Mrs. Jones had prepared it all herself: steamed rice, kimchi stew, warm ginger tea, and a small bowl of soft porridge just for you. You sat down quietly, still a bit light-headed from the shore and everything that had happened earlier. Your skin was visibly pale. Your lips dry despite the food in front of you. Your appetite was nowhere to be found. But Mrs. Jones placed the bowl closer to you and smiled softly. Wine, I made this for you, something light so it's easy on your stomach. Thank you, Mom, really. You gave her a weak smile and slowly began to eat. The warmth of the porridge soothed your throat a little, and you forced yourself to take a few bites even though you felt sick. Across the table, Jungkook sat in silence, his jaw tight, gaze steady. He was watching you. He noticed the way your hand trembled when lifting the spoon, the way your face looked drained, even with your hair still damp and dressed in a simple cotton shirt. You looked delicate, too fragile to be pretending everything was fine. But what really made his blood simmer was the one. The boy had been sneaking glances at you every other minute, pretending to be focused on his plate but clearly watching you when he thought no one was looking. Jungkook noticed every single time. Jungkook, are you heading to the office now? He didn't answer right away, still watching you from the corner of his eye. Yeah. Then Taehwan will take wine to the doctor for a checkup. You immediately pause mid-sip, your heart skipping. No, mom, I'm okay. I'll go with Jungkook when he comes back, please. You glanced briefly at Jungkook, your voice soft but sincere, like you were pleading without trying to cause a scene. Jungkook, despite the distance he had kept all morning, let out a slow breath. Truth was, he didn't like the idea of they one being alone with you either. He didn't trust that boy, not anymore. She will go with me. His voice was flat, final. Mrs. Jones blinked in surprise. Oh, all right then, but don't delay. She really doesn't look well. You gave a small nod and dropped your gaze to your plate again, avoiding Taewon's stare. Jungkook didn't say another word, but beneath the cold silence was something unspoken. He was watching now, and he wasn't going to let anyone near you again. The day had crawled slowly, your body heavy with fatigue, your head warm from the fever that refused to breakfast. Mrs. Jones had insisted you rest, forbidding you from lifting even a glass of water. So you stayed in your room, laying under the quiet hum of the ceiling fan. Eventually, the four walls felt too tight, so you stepped out onto the small balcony connected to your bedroom. The sun was beginning to set, casting a soft orange glow across the garden. You smiled faintly when your eyes landed on Mr. and Mrs. Jones sitting side by side on the bench beneath the apricot tree, sipping their evening tea. Laughing, talking, so peaceful. Despite everything, they treated you like their own, gentle, warm, protective. And the sun? Jungkook, you lay on your elbows on the railing, your gaze falling. He was distant, icy, cold as the steel watches he wore. You had once convinced yourself that maybe he hated you, maybe marrying you was a forced responsibility. But Mrs. Jones had once held your hand and explained the truth. He's always been like that, Wine. Ever since school, Kids bullied him badly, said he was too quiet, too strange. He stopped talking much. He builds walls, not bridges. That's just how he protects himself. You had believed her. Maybe, just maybe, one day those walls would lower for you. But before the thought could linger longer, your body stiffened, you flinched. Two arms suddenly wrapped tightly around your waist from behind. The scent wasn't Jungkook's cool, musky column. It was something else, louder, sharper, intrusive. Taehwan. You shoved him away with all your strength. What are you trying to do? He only chuckled his head like it was a joke. Relax, Nuna. You always act so shy, but your eyes, they tell another story. Before you could respond, he gripped your wrist and dragged you inside the room. The door slammed shut behind you. You struggled hard, your voice shaking. Let go of me, Taewon. What's wrong with you? But he was stronger. He pushed you toward the wall, trying to trap you under him. His face inched closer, his breath disgusting, his intentions wild. Then his phone rang, loud, shrill. He cursed under his breath and looked at the screen. It was Oma. He stomped his feet angrily, letting you go. You're lucky, saved by the bell. His eyes darkened as he stepped back. Next time, don't expect miracles. He left the room. You collapsed on the floor, tears streaming down your cheeks, your breath coming in uneven gasps. You hugged your knees to your chest. What if the phone had not rung? What if no one had called? Your skin felt dirty, your chest heavy with fear. You cried into your arms, trying to be silent. Meanwhile, Jungkook's office, the conference room door slammed shut, shaking the glass walls. Jungkook's voice, sharp as a whip, echoed through the hallways. You let this client walk out. How could you be this careless? His secretary, a nervous young woman in her 20s, flinched as he threw the file across the table. Sir, I tried calling you when he arrived early, and you think calling me 3 times is enough for a billion won deal? He walked out thinking we were not prepared. He was furious. This deal had been in the works for 4 months. Investors, partners, strategy, gone in minutes. He yanked off his watch and slammed it into his drawer, praising, tell the team to draft an apology, and next time if a client shows up even unannounced, I better be informed before he even steps out of his car. Yes, sir. His head throbbed and his patience snapped. He didn't wait another second. He grabbed his coat and stormed out of the office. Jungkook's car squeezed slightly as he pulled into the driveway. His tie was loose, his sleeves rolled up. His entire aura screamed frustration, but the moment he walked through the door, he paused. There was something off. The silence felt too heavy, and he was about to find out why. The door flung open with a bang. Jungkook stepped in, still fuming from the office disaster. His jaw was clenched, his tie half undone, and the anger in his eyes hadn't cooled. But before he could even take another breath, Wine rushed to him, wrapped your trembling arms around his torso, burying your tear soaked face in his chest. The suddenness froze him. He didn't hug you back. What the? He pried your arms off harshly. Wine, what the hell are you doing? He pushed you slightly and your knees buckled. You looked up at him with swollen eyes, voice cracking like a child's heart drop. You are bad too, so bad. Your brother, he touched me today, but you never even let me touch you. You wiped your nose with your sleeve and kept ranting like a broken hearted child. You hate me, don't you? You always did, right? Why did you marry me if you won't even look at me? But your brother, your words blurred into soaps, your breathing turned irregular, and your vision zipped. Jungkook's eyes widened in shock. Wine, you collapsed right in front of him, unconscious. He growled, catching you just in time before your head hit the ground. You lay quietly on the white hospital bed, the IV drip feeding slowly into your arm. Your lips were pale, your brows furrowed even in sleep. A nurse adjusted your blanket and stepped aside as the door pulled Chungkook aside. She's weak, her blood pressure dropped due to emotional shock and physical exhaustion. She's running a fever, has severe cramps, could be premenstrual. Stress combined with fatigue keep her away from any more stress for a few days. The doctor gave him a The doctor gave him a warning glance before walking out of the ward. Jungkook ran a shaky hand through his hair. His throat tightened as he looked at you, pale and so still. His knuckles were white from clenching his fists. He had never seen you cry like that, never heard you yell, and the fact that he had been the reason you collapsed made his heart pound with guilt. The deal, the shouting, the push, and then the Taehwan. He gritted his teeth and punched the side of the wall softly. Taewan was there too, staring awkwardly at the back of the room, pretending concerned, arms crossed, eyes a little too focused on your body under the blanket. Chuguk's eyes snapped to him, but before he could speak, you stirred. Your lashes fluttered weakly and your eyes slowly opened. Wine, he rushed to your side, voice soft and trembling. He grabbed your hand gently. Are you okay? You scared of me. Yeah, I'm alive. But the moment your gaze shifted toward their wand, the memory hit you like a slap. Your expression crumbled, tears welled up again, and invited, you turned your face away and wiped them silently. Jungkook noticed instantly. He turned to Taewon sharply, suspicion returning like a storm. Wine, earlier you said Taewon touched you. You didn't speak, just stayed still, avoiding his eyes. Wine, I'm asking you something. You turned to him, voice filled with bitterness. Forget it, Jungkook. You won't believe me anyway. You never do. His heart dropped. What did he do? Your chest rose and fell. He pushed me into the room, tried to kiss me. Everything snapped. Without hearing the word, Jungkook turned to his younger brother. The loud sound echoed through the ward. Taewon stumbled back, holding his cheek stunned. How dare you touch my wife, you disgusting coward? He grabbed his phone and called his father right in front of him. Dad, come to the hospital now. Your precious son molested wine twice. Taewon stuttered, eyes wide. I didn't mean, she misunderstood. Get out before I break your face, and don't you dare show up in front of her again. He shoved Taewon toward the door with venom in his eyes. Jungkook turned back to you, guilt and fire both blazing in his gaze, but you still were not looking at him. The damage had been done. The door creaked open again, and Mr. and Mrs. Jones stepped in, their faces tense, eyes dropping as they looked at you laying on the bed. Wine, my dear, we are so sorry. Her voice trembled and she came forward, gently holding her hand. We didn't rise the one like this. I can't even believe what he did. I'm ashamed to even call him my son right now. Mr. Jones stood beside her, his eyes heavy with regret. We came here as parents today, not as his defenders. I know an apology can't fix what he tried to do, but we are deeply sorry. You nodded weakly, offering them a tired smile. You could never hate them. They had always treated you like their own. You're not responsible for his actions. But thank you for standing with me. Mrs. Jones teared up and kissed your forehead before Jungkook gently assured them out, promising to talk once you rested more. A heavy silence filled the room. Jungkook stood near the window for a moment, staring out into the darkening sky, fists clenched by his sides. Then finally he turned to face you. I was wrong. You looked at him but said nothing. I shouldn't have shouted at you. I shouldn't have pushed you away when you needed me the most. He exhaled, voice bitter. I lost a major deal today. Something I worked on for months. Everything collapsed. I was already at my breaking point and I took it out on you. The one person who didn't deserve any of it. He moved closer to the bed but didn't sit. I didn't mean to hurt you, Wyan. I'm sorry. You slowly turned your head away from him, your tone cold, colder than he would ever hear it from you. You're only sorry because I passed out. If I hadn't, you wouldn't have even asked what happened. That stung. He swallowed hard. You pushed me, shouted at me like I was just some nuisance. But your brother, your own blood, he forced himself on me, and you didn't even remember it until later. Your voice cracked, but your eyes stayed sharp. You always keep your distance cold, silent, but you know what hurts the most. I never asked you to love me. I just wanted a little warmth, just once, but you gave that chance to your anger. Jungkook was quiet, he didn't have the words because everything you said was true. I don't know how to be warm wine, not the way you deserve, but I swear I didn't doubt you, not for a second. Right, that's why you pushed me like I was nothing. He stepped forward, but you pulled the blanket up and turned your back to him. I need rest, please go. Your voice was quiet, but it was final. Chunko stared at your torn figure for a long moment before stepping back, his chest heavy. He had broken something fragile today, and he wasn't sure how long it would take to fix it, or if it ever could be.